should I pack down the soil once I get it in there, in between the two plants I do have, or leave it loose?
No, go ahead and pack it in. You want to make sure that there's good connection between the plants and the potting soil at all times.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and put your last plant in there.
I really like the colors that we picked out.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about succulents, is that they come in a wide variety of colors and shapes and sizes and textures. So it's neat because you can see here you got a dark green with kind of a light purpley pink, and then this light blue pink color as well. So they really complement each other nicely. All right, once you got them in there, now we can put our final coat of cactus mix over the top of it. So you can dig in here a little bit more, grab some more cactus mix, and then just put it around the base of all the plants, and that way you're covering the root ball. If you get it on the plants, it's easy to just shake it out, and then again, pack it down. You don't want to sink the plants too deep in there, so this area you got to be careful that if you do build up soil around the base of the succulents, that you do shave it away a little bit or kind of move it and pack the soil, because if there is soil built up around the succulent, it could eventually rot it out. So you just got to be careful of that.
Oh, so it shouldn't go above the lowest leaves?
Right.
Okay.
All right, and then once you get all that soil packed in, it's fun to put a little bit of decoration in there as well. You'll see this a lot in some of the terrariums. So I've grabbed some Mexican beach pebbles here, and again, working in odds, you can put a little pile of them, put one or two just kind of scattered around, and that just adds a little bit of uniqueness to it. So that way it kind of looks a little bit more natural. And lastly, some people put sand over the top of it to kind of give it that desert feel, but I like using this little gravel. It gives it a little bit more texture and color, and this isn't required, but it does cover up the soil, so it gives your container a little bit different of a feel and different unique look. And you know, using different colors can maybe contrast with the plants, make the lighter colors stand out a little bit more with the darker gravel. So you can just scatter this in all the areas where there is soil showing.
It almost gives it a look like an aquarium.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you just want to cover up the soil so it doesn't show. And you can just sprinkle it around, and if it gets stuck in some of the succulents, you just kind of shake them, free up some of the gravel.
Does putting the gravel in there affect watering?
Not really. It will keep some of the moisture in, but you're doing such a light amount that mostly you're just adding aesthetics, and it's just kind of beautifying the rest of it. So that looks pretty good.
Thanks.
Are you sure you haven't done this before?
I am really sure. Well, neat. That turned out to be a lot easier than I expected.
Well, you did a wonderful job. You're all set to go. So now when you want to water this, you're just going to water it a little bit at a time, because like I said, there's no drainage in the bottom.
Okay.
So you don't want to make sure that you don't build up moisture. So you're probably going to water these about once every 2 to 3 weeks at max. Succulents, they work kind of funny. They grow if you water them more and kind of take care of them, but at the same time, they're happy being just left alone, and they'll stay the same size, so you really can't do any wrong.
Okay.
So what do you think about your finished product there?
I am really pleased with it.
Well, Mary, you did a great job putting together your centerpiece. Thanks for letting me help you out.
Thank you.
All right, well, now I'm off to find my next customer, so have a good time.
Great. Thanks a lot.
So we're back here at Mission Hills Nursery, where I wanted to talk about a few things I didn't get to cover with Mary. The first thing I want to talk about is spiny succulents. These are wonderful additions to any kind of combination or any yard planting. It's tough to work with though, because they have thorns and spines that could be damaging to your fingers, and sometimes gloves just aren't enough. So I've got some tricks here I want to show you when working with these. If you've got a pair of tongs here that you can use, barbecue ones or ones from the house, you can just grab the plants with these, hold them up, take them out of the pot, plant them in the planter, manipulate them, maneuver them, however you want to work with them. they're great to use and they're easy to use as well. Maybe you don't have a pair of those, or maybe the plant's just too big for that. Cardboard is another great option. It's thick, it's durable, and it's everywhere. So you can just take the cardboard, wrap it around the plant to hold it. You can pull off the pot, you arrange your combination, or you can put them in the ground. The cardboard's great to use whether you have a 15-gallon container or a 2-inch pot like these. So that's always a good trick to start to learn. I use that often when I'm working in the yard. Another thing that you can consider when working with succulents is a green moss topiary, whether it's a wreath frame or a ball or a basket. Succulents don't require a lot for their root systems to survive. So when they first start off, they start from what we call a plug. It doesn't have any root matter whatsoever, and you plug it into the soil or moss or mix that you're planting in, and they do really, really well. So for instance, we have this wreath right here. It's got a couple empty spots, so I have this little plug. Now I could just plug it right in there and have one, but I'm also thinking that this is getting a little bit long for the wreath or the topiary shape. So I'm going to pull these ones apart, and now I have two, and when I plug them into the hole, they're going to mat down and be a closer shape to the wreath, which is nice. So I can take the whole wreath and take all the same plants in it and make it a little bit tighter, a little bit cleaner looking by doing that. Just soak the wreath when you're done with some water, let it dry out over a couple weeks, and it's going to be good to go. Last thing I want to mention when working with succulent combinations is that there's all kinds of varieties, colors, and textures to work with. So remember that whenever you're working with a combination. Include the reds and the yellows together. Throw in some green. Have a little bit of fun with it. We've got wonderful textures to play with as well, and the combinations go really great together. So when you're looking at a succulent combination like this one, you see the color combinations, but then you also see the textures, and you also notice it looks crowded, but that's not the case with the succulents. They grow really well together. So if you want an overnight sensation, buy larger plants and fit them into a smaller pot, and you'll get this instant gratification right when you put it on your table. If you want to allow a little bit of time to grow, you can get smaller plants and allow them to grow out. Just remember to water them a little bit more. That'll encourage them to grow. All right, well, let's go ahead and get back to the show. Welcome back to Garden Life TV. We're at Waterwise Botanicals now, where we're going to find our next customer. So let's go see who's in the nursery.
Excuse me, do you work here?
Actually, I don't, but my name's Tiger and I'm with Garden Life TV. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie. What we do is we actually come to garden centers and look for customers like you that maybe have a problem or need help with something. What brought you in today?
Well, I have a place in my garden and I'm looking to put succulents, but I don't know enough about them and I definitely don't know how to plant them.
Oh. All right, well, how about we do this? How about we walk through Waterwise Botanicals and take a look at what they have, and we'll pick out some succulents that would fit your criteria, and if you want, we can help you plant them at your house.
Wow, that would be great.
Yeah?
Wonderful.
All right, well, why don't we go into the nursery and see what plants we can pick out.
Okay, terrific.
Let's go.
When shopping for succulents, remember that they don't have deep roots like some of the other plants and shrubs. So if they're in a shallow bowl, that's okay. If they're in a deep pot, that's okay too. But make sure you pick it up and try to lift it out of the pot. If it stays together, that means that it's rooted and ready to go. If it begins to fall apart, you might want to give that one a little bit more time in the growing grounds, because you might be a little unsuccessful if you try to transplant that one.
All right, Jeannie, well, we picked out some really great things. So why don't we go ahead and load them up in your car, and I'll follow you over to your house and I'll show you how to put them in.
Terrific.
I'm Sharon Asakawa from the Garden Life Radio Show, and thanks to the grafted Mighty Tomatoes, now everyone can grow tomatoes like these.
Get ready for the tomato plant that's going to change the way Americans grow vegetables. If you've been searching for a delectable tasting tomato that performs great in your garden, the Mighty Tomato grafted tomato is the answer to your quest. Tomatoes known for their luscious flavor are grafted onto vigorous rootstock. The result? Mighty tomato plants that produce more fruit for a longer season on disease and pest-resistant plants. And since they require less water and fertilizer and adapt to even poor soils, the Mighty Tomatoes are the perfect plants no matter where you live in the U.S. Remember, for healthier, more vigorous plants and bumper crops, be sure to plant the Mighty Tomato.
For a bountiful harvest, don't forget to look for Mighty Tomatoes, Mighty Peppers, and Mighty Eggplant at your local garden center or online.